Good evening, everybody, and happy Saturday. Hope everybody's weekend is going according to plan. We're going to be walking around the Lower East Side again, but maybe we will head further downtown. So there's going to be no topic for tonight's stream, as we all know. Usually on the weekends, we don't have a specific topic, but I was reading a very interesting article today in Investors Business Daily about a specific semiconductor company called Alpha and Omega. And I think we'll have that discussion maybe on Monday. But if you want to prep for that session and read a little bit ahead, if you type !Alpha in the chat, it'll drop the link to the Investors Business Daily article about a very interesting up-and-coming semiconductor company called Alpha and Omega. So let's see who we have here in the chat. We have Fresh Start. What's going on? Says, hey, Tom. Lori E says, hey, Tom. Joey is here. What's up, Joey? Joey says, happy Saturday. Eugene Bean says, what's up, Tom? Samantha R says, hey, Tom. What's going on? I see Jay. I see Mr. Paranormal Witness Girl says, buenos noches. Buenos noches to you, too. Greetings from Taiwan. How are you? Lena Sandoval, Michelle Henry, Samantha R says, how are you tonight? I'm doing really good. And Michelle McGraw says, hey, Tom. How are you? What's up, Michelle? Michelle McGraw is our great moderator. Welcome, everybody. It was a pretty good day today. It may rain in a little bit, though. It may rain in like 15 minutes, so I did bring the umbrella. I see the swan. Good to see a swan from the one and only Ireland. Good to see you. Out and about says cheers. Hey, out and about. I saw you on, I was hanging out with you earlier today on Lady O's stream. So good to see you. Pacific Desert Raid says, what's up, Tom? What's up, Pacific Desert Raid? I see Buy the Book. What's going on, Buy the Book? Everclear 1102 says, hey, Tom, I'm considered about the market. So much uncertainty. You're concerned, maybe. Good to see you. There is a lot of uncertainty for sure. Jay says, I'm going to Miami on Monday. Enjoy it. I may be going to Miami Monday. Clear Jay Buy the Book. Eugene says, sorry, I've not been on your streams lately. I got a new phone, so I've been doing some IRL stuff. Very, very cool. Jay says, getting windy here. Good to see you, Jay. Christina says, Tom, AK was in Coral Gables. Coral Gables is very beautiful. I believe that is where the University of Miami is located. Everclear 1102 says, concerned. Yeah, I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. But one of the things that was interesting to me is that the VIX just isn't reflecting the poor news, if that makes sense. And I briefly wrote about this in last week's edition of the Behind the Street newsletter that, is essentially outlining that I think the market could have one more leg lower because even though there's so much fear in the market, but if we look at the internals of the market, like the VIX, the put to call ratio, it's really not at that extended levels as of yet. So I would like to see the VIX spike into the 50s, maybe mid 50s, 60, and then I think that would be a bottom. Hey, we have our friend Jonathan Richards here. What is up, Jonathan? Good to see you. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Mike Bell says, evening, Tom. MasterCard and Visa is out of Russia. Yeah, I was reading about that today. Kind of crazy. So I guess we'll see how this unfolds. What do you think about that, Mike? Paranormal Witness Girl says, don't forget to stream in Fort Lauderdale when you get back. Yeah, we may take a trip up to Fort Lauderdale. It's interesting. I may be flying into Fort Lauderdale as opposed to Miami. Once again, my residence is equidistant between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. So we are here at Astor Place. Hey, Olivia says, hey, Tom, how was your day? My day was really good. My day was very good. Hope yours was well. I'll give you guys a look at the cube here. Hey, Vinny Castellano is here. This is Staten Island says hi. What's up, Vinny Castellano, as well as Maria Castellano. Hope everybody is having a good day. Supposedly, it's supposed to be about 60 degrees tomorrow in Manhattan. So maybe if I can get the newsletter done and written, maybe we could stream a little bit earlier. Who knows? Victor, see us as bro walk towards MDDC. Good to see you, Victor. Melee says, good evening, Tom. What's up, Melee? Hope you're well. Nicholas says, that's a sick cube, dude. Thank you, Nicholas. Appreciate you. Christina says, go to Hallandale Beach or Hollywood Beach as well. Yeah, so I was actually looking at a home in Hollywood, Florida, but I did not pull the trigger on that. Mr. Wu says, hello. Good to see you, Mr. Wu. Samantha R says, yes, it's going to be warmer over the next 2 days. Extremely excited about that. Hey, Dave says, was the Max Weber from TikTok? I'm not sure. Wanye Cass says, hey, Tom, how's it going tonight? It's going really good. It's going very, very good. Horatio Snipes says, Tom, do you own a Bugatti? No, I don't drive. So I do not own a Bugatti. Mike Bell says, it seems trying to crush Putin, but in return, you're destroying the average Russian citizen that had nothing to do with the invasion. Yeah, I mean, you know, Mike, I think you make a great point. And we were talking about this a couple streams ago where I said, look, it's a tragedy all around because essentially, could you imagine if you are, you know, a regular, hardworking Russian citizen? And I understand you could say the same thing about Ukrainians, but you know, essentially all of your equity value is cut in half if you were invested in the stock market. Your property values are probably plummeting, and now your currency is worth nothing. So it's really egregious what's going on. Hey, Alex says Destin, Florida is a great area. I'm gonna have to check that out. The one and only War Walker. Good to see you, War Walker. We will be back very soon, I promise. Christina says, I remember March 3rd, 1990. In New York, it was 80 degrees at night. I was working at the World Trade Center. Very cool. Hopefully it'll be 80 degrees tomorrow, but I don't think we'll get there. I think it's going to be 60. But look, I'll take 60 over 30 or 40 any day. Arum Z says, Tom, did watch The Batman? I think I have seen the movie a couple times. Wow, Jay says, Tom, I was seeing gas over $7 today. You must be in California. That's insane. Nicholas says, don't forget all the sanctions that will take a swing at Russia's economy too. Absolutely. So another article I was reading today, and I would highly, highly recommend. Wow, check out this lobby. Hold on, quick break for the lobby. That's a pretty cool entrance to an apartment building. Very unique. Christina Thompson says, hey, Tom, what's going on, Christina Thompson? So if anybody wants to pick up this week's issue of Investors Business Daily, I would highly, highly encourage doing so, because the cover story was actually about all of the defense stocks. So you could think about Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and many, many others. And I guess the bullish thesis is many European Union countries are going to be forced to increase their military spending, which could in turn obviously appreciate a lot of the defense stocks, because obviously more sales equals more earnings and things like that. But in full disclosure, I do not own any of the defense stocks outside of a traditional index fund, but I see where the thesis of the bull thesis could play out. But then again, I never really like to bet on war and stuff like that. But it was a really interesting article, well thought out, and it actually breaks down military spending by country. So it was interesting to see France increasing their military spending, as well as Germany, you know, buying a lot of the JDAM missiles and Javelin missiles, anti-tank weapons. Hey, Nick Rocks says it's going to be 67 degrees here at the Jersey Shore tomorrow, 70 on Monday. Awesome. I think it's going to be about 60, 65 here in New York too. Nicholas says, Tom, long time no talk. How you doing? I'm doing really good. Good to see you too, Nicholas. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Aldo Gomez is here. Good to see you, Aldo Gomez. Welcome. Lewis says, good evening, Tom. How are you? I am doing very, very well. War Walker says, do you get excited about going home, or it's just another thing? So I am a little bit excited now, mainly because, you know, I've been in New York now for 2 weeks. Probably, I don't know, has it been 2 weeks? Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks, and it's just been gray and dark almost every day. So I think it'll be nice to get back in the sunshine, 80-degree weather at least. So in that sense, War Walker, I'm definitely excited. But how is the weather down there? Hey, I see RJ. What's up, RJ? Good to see you. Samantha R. The Swan. Christina says, Tom, when did you first pick up the Wall Street Journal? Probably freshman year of college. I would read it on the train. Hey, Roz999 says, hello from Buffalo. Great to see you streaming tonight. So I got to get a trip up to Buffalo. I want to go to Niagara Falls. Haven't been up there in a long time. I think I'll start to do all my traveling in the summer when things thaw out a little bit up there, but we'll see. Nick Rock says, Tom, what is happening ahead with the emergency vehicles and the lights? We'll check it out. To be totally honest, I'm not sure. Well, there is a firehouse up here, so maybe it's just a routine drill, but we'll check it out. Hopefully nothing major. It seems like everybody's leaving. The site anyway. Good to see Aldo Gomez. What is going on? Elaine. Hello, Elaine. Good to see you again. Welcome. Nicholas says, Tom, what are the best free things to do in the city? I mean, honestly, for me, I just like walking around. This is a nice Tesla here. I would say go to Riverside Park as well as South Street Seaport. There's a lot of things to do, walk around, that are for free. I think you can do a lot more things than you would think in the city that doesn't really cost you any money. New York is a very walkable city, so you could pretty much... But I think those are the top two things. In the summer, more specifically in the summer, if you're ever down at South Street Seaport, very good time. Hey, Trevor says, can you say hi to Chelsea? Good to see you, Chelsea. Welcome to the stream. DWG, good to see you. Samantha R says, what are your favorite museums to visit in the city? So one of my favorite museums is actually on the Upper East Side, and it's called the Henry Clay Frick Museum. And a lot of the artwork as well as artifacts oftentimes are relocated between the Morgan Library and the Henry Clay Frick Museum. So I'd say those two are probably my favorite. So if you're ever in New York, very educational experience too, especially if you want to learn more about the Industrial Revolution, essentially how the backbone of the United States came about. I would see the Morgan Library as well as the Henry Clay Frick Museum. Has anybody in here been to those two museums? Christina says, Tom, do you have a great walking shoe? What do you recommend? I don't, to be honest. I probably should get better walking shoes. The ones I have on now are horrible. They're like skateboarding shoes. Paranormal Witness Girl says, Tom, I recommend you take the digital transformation course from University of Virginia at Coursera. Amazing. Well, if you know, Paranormal Witness Girl, if you want, could you please put the link to that course in the Discord? So if anybody hasn't signed up for the Discord, if you look in the links in the description of this video, you're more than welcome to join us in the Discord. Samantha R says, Tom, I've been to the Morgan Museum. How'd you like it? It was good. I loved it. Jonathan Francis says, hey, Tom, happy Saturday night. Hello, chat crew. What's up, Jason? Good to see you. Mr. Wu says, do you get neighbor noise in apartments in New York City? Some buildings you do, some of them you don't. Obviously, the more modern buildings tend to have a little bit better soundproofing, I would say. But it's a good question. Michelle Henry says, Brooks shoes are good for the money. Worth the money, Michelle Henry says. Jay says, Tom, I saw an article today about mass quantities of people trying to leave Russia. I mean, I could imagine. I mean, just think about, I understand that the war in Ukraine is horrible. There's a lot of innocent people being killed, and it's totally horrible, and I think everybody agrees with that. But I think if we expand and look forward, what's even more horrible is just the amount of innocent people that are working hard in Russia or Ukraine, and their lives have been upended by essentially this egregious attack. And what I mean by that is, let's say if you were a Russian family, you're investing your money in the Russian stock market, you're doing the right thing, you're trying to save money. Well, now your net worth is essentially cut in half overnight, and your currency isn't worth anything. So it's definitely just a really horrible situation all around. Hey, Sock LI, this is busy night. I'm from Massachusetts. Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. Maybe I will make a trip up to Massachusetts very soon. Son Jib says, hey, Tom, how are you? I am from Montreal. Welcome, everybody from Montreal. Lewis says, hey, Tom, good to join your walk this Saturday night. Right back at you, Lewis. Tortellini says, lovely night. What do you guys think about these two things right here? Sunshine After Rain, our moderator. What's up, Sunshine? Good to see you. Aldo Gomez, good to see you. Sally is here, welcome. Lori E, the one and only, the Swan, welcome, welcome. It's gonna be a little bit of a windy night here, so I do apologize for the wind noise. Jax says, Tom, does your home lay dormant when you're in Miami? No, I rent it out. I rent out my house. But it's a good question. NBF Forum is here. Good to see you. Bianca M. Welcome, Bianca. So everybody, this is one of my favorite coffee shops here. It's called Gasoline Alley. And it is a fantastic, fantastic place here in NoHo. GG NYC, good to see you. Hope everybody's weekend is off to a great start. Hope everybody took some time off to relax today. Hey, Priscilla Michelle says, hey, Tom, hope you've been good and well. Great to see you're in New York tonight. Hey, thank you, Priscilla, for joining. We appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, hey.
I'm 14. I see your stream all the time.
Oh, really? Hey, nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, man.
Good to see you. Yeah.
How's it going? Good?
It's going good. We're just hanging out tonight, walking around. But yeah, are you, so you're the, what's your username again? 14?
Vegito.
14. Oh, dude, cool, man. Awesome. Well, thanks again for watching, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything crazy tonight or just sort of hanging out? Oh, yeah? Oh, dope. Awesome, man. Well, it was awesome running into you. Cool. Yeah, if you're in the Discord, feel free to join us in the Discord. We network in there and stuff, but I appreciate you watching, man.
You have a Discord?
Yeah, so if you look in the description of the video, I put like a link. So we try to, it's pretty much for anything, like an open chat, but I'm trying to start like a networking group for people who are interested in either finance or working tech. So that's sort of what I'm trying to grow there. But if you want to join, feel free.
Yeah, I'll join.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey man, take it easy. Thanks for watching again. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one. Hey, that was 14, our pal 14. He watches the streams all the time. He told me he was just coming in from a ramen place. He was getting some ramen, which is good. Iowa Oak says, hey, Christina, good to see you. Cosmo Scary is here. What's up, Cosmo? Hope you had a good weekend so far. For the Love of God says, hello, good evening, Tom. Yeah, For the Love of God, we should be back in Miami relatively soon. So somebody actually sent me a direct message that, and I'm not sure, you guys probably do know him. Hold on, let me cross the street. I don't trust any of these drivers anymore here. I believe that Cash Jordan is a very well-known and successful real estate businessman here in New York. I think he is also in Southern Florida on vacation. So I hope he has a great vacation in Southern Florida. Leaky says, you have a very nice speaking voice. You would be great on radio. Thank you for that. Thank you for the compliment. Appreciate it. Hey, Gary is here. Says, hey, Tom, great stream on a Saturday night. What's up, Gary? So we were going to venture uptown, but for some reason, I think they're doing network aggregation, which is essentially they're moving around cellular towers. So anytime we go past 34th Street, the signal tends to drop. So it looks like we may have to stay downtown for the foreseeable future. Sunshine after rain. Hope everything is going well with you. Michelle McGraw says he was there in Miami for his wife's birthday. Ah, very cool. It's definitely a good location to go away for a birthday, for sure. It's also kind of nice to get out of the city during the winter and get into the sun, for sure. It's definitely a good idea. Karina Thompson says, yes, Cash was in Florida for his wife's birthday, Tom.
And then violence started taking place on a weekly basis.
Well, it's definitely the place to be for a lot of celebrations. I think it's a good choice. Triple G says, Tom, you just met Vegetto 14, and loyal follower. Yes. I never know how to pronounce the Vegetto 14, so I always just say 14 in the chat. But yeah, he's a great guy. He just was on his way back from a ramen place. I should have asked him the name. But now we are on Prince Street. Hey, Ruby's here. What's up, Ruby Falcone? Good to see you. Western Mass Dave, the one and only. Good to see you, Western Mass Dave. So I just want to give everybody the article that I was reading about that semiconductor company, Alpha and Omega. So if you type !Alpha in the chat, it will drop the link to the Investors Business Daily article outlining a full analyst outline of Alpha and Omega. And I think it's a pretty interesting semiconductor company. I think where their bright spot is, where they stand out, is manufacturing chips that are very energy efficient. Because if we think about a lot of the appliances, as well as, smartphones and tablets, they're going to need to be able to live up to government Energy Star requirements. So anytime you buy a refrigerator, or really any sort of appliance, it has to have those Energy Star ratings. And this company, Alpha and Omega, that's sort of where they shine, right? So we won't go into it too much tonight because obviously on the weekends we don't have dedicated topics. But if you're doing some, lazy weekend reading, I think this would be a good article to sort of pick up. So !Alpha. You can read about Alpha and Omega. Hey, Estelle is here joining us from the one and only Australia. Good evening, Estelle. Says, hey, Tom, how you doing? Good to see you in New York. Thank you, Estelle. Jeannie says, hello, Tom, from Liverpool, England. Welcome, Jeannie. Good to see you. A lot of people out tonight. Christian says, Tom, do you think we may have G6 tech in 10 years or G6 networks? Yes, I do. Jack says, Tom, do you ever watch Saturday Night Live? Stars come out at 30 Rock after the show. I don't, but I do sometimes watch Saturday Night Live. Not obviously when it's live, but I do watch the clips on YouTube. But I've never seen like the cast members come out of 30 Rock. But we do always see those cars always lined up. That's probably obviously why they're there. So it looks like we're gonna go to Little Italy as well as Chinatown tonight. Hey, Love Song says, I'm a big fan of you. I'm a big fan of you as well. Brian says, what's our itinerary tonight, Tom? No real itinerary due to the weekend. We usually don't have prepared topics, but I did want to share with everybody that one company, Alpha and Omega, which is a semiconductor company, Investors Business Daily did a really good write-up on it, and they actually interviewed the CEO. So I think if you're interested in learning more about the semiconductor space, I would suggest reading that article. It's probably about a 15-minute read. Hey, Alan Wilson is joining us. What's up, Alan? Says, good evening, Tom and everybody. What's up, Alan? Always good to see you here. The Swan is joining us from Ireland. Welcome. Hey, Kumar Ram says, Tom, good morning from India. So we always have a lot of viewers from India. So thank you, everybody from India, for joining. Obviously, it's probably very early in the morning for you guys. You're probably just starting your day. So thank you for kicking off the day with us here in New York. So we're headed towards Little Italy. Wow, this place looks awesome in here. It's called the Bondi Sushi Bar. This place looks good. Jace is going to have to stockpile neon gas. Hey, Chris says, good evening, Tom, mods and all. What's up, Chris? I think you're off this weekend. I think you were off. James Davidson says, Tom, over 40 years of SNL has been live from New York. Has it really been 40 years? Wow. Kassan, good to see you. Kassan, Cosmo's Scary. Welcome to the stream. Latha says, hello, Tom and everybody in the chat. Hope you are well. I'm doing really good. I think I'm going to be feeling a little bit better tomorrow, now that it's going to be 60 degrees. That's going to feel amazing. So hopefully, if I can get the newsletter complete, maybe by 1 p.m., maybe we'll stream a little bit earlier, maybe not. We'll see. We'll keep that tentative for now. Trinidad Music, good to see you. DJ says, what part of the city do you live in? So I used to live Central Park South, but I did move to Miami, so I no longer live there. Luigi says, hello from New Jersey, enjoying the walk. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, so I think Matt Bell brought up the fact that Visa and MasterCard are no longer doing business in Russia, which is pretty massive news. It seems like every day another major company comes out and sort of pulls their products and services away from Russia. So I think Putin is essentially back against the wall. So we'll see how this turns out. Trinidad Music, good to see you. Francine says, hey, Tom and everybody. Good to see you. Western Mass Dave says, bring on spring. I can't wait. For the love of God says, the U.S. Senate voted and it's official. COVID is over. Bad timing for the truck convoy, says, for the love of God. Emmanuel says, hello, everybody. Greetings from Spain. Very cool. Greetings, everybody from Spain. So here's the main Little Italy sign on the corner of Broome Street and Mulberry. At least I think this is where we are. Yes, this is where we are. Hey, Maria's here, says, hello from Sao Paulo. Good evening to all of our Brazilian viewers. So we also do have a little Brazil in New York as well, but unfortunately the signal strength is not good. Nicholas is here, says, dude, I was in Las Vegas and it was literally snowing there. No joke. The New York weather literally followed me to Nevada. Jesus. So Nicholas, you know what was strange? So when I went to Vegas, where it was the hottest temperature on record in the world, this was about a year ago, and it was so surreal because you would go outside and I felt like my face was melting off. But then if you looked into the distance on the mountains, there was snow on the mountains. It was crazy. So I know what you're talking about. Vegas weather is really, really bizarre. You know, in the distance, you see the mountains and there's all snow on the mountains. Also, another crazy thing I saw in Vegas was the first time in my life I actually saw a wild horse. Fun fact there. Has anybody else seen a wild horse? Hey, Joel is here, says just subscribed. Hello from North Carolina, and I love your commentary. Well, thank you for being here. North Carolina is also a major growing tech hub. So hopefully I will get down to North and South Carolina very soon. Hey, Gabriel, good to see you. This is for real. Welcome, Gabriel. Yeah, Western Mass Dave says, let's see if the internet wreaks havoc on the stream. Yeah, so Western Mass Dave, originally I wanted to try to stream Uptown tonight, but every time we pass 34th Street, the internet takes a nosedive. So I guess we'll have to stay down here until that gets rectified. Brandon Bloom is here, says hello. Welcome, Brandon. Says, what's up, Minnesota in the house? Welcome. Cindy Foley is here, says, hey, Tom. Chris Beeman says, yes, we have many groups of wild horses in Arizona. Yeah, it was a crazy sort of thing to see, especially coming from New York City. The Swan says, Tom, Russian commuters can no longer pay with Apple on their phones, only cash. Yeah, somebody sent me a Twitter post or a picture on Twitter where all of the lines at the subway stations in Russia were so long because nobody could use the mobile payments, which is really, really crazy what's going on. Hey, Henry is here, says, hello, great live, Tom. What's up, Henry? David says, hello, everybody from Puebla, Mexico. Welcome to all of our Mexican viewers. We are now in Little Italy. What's up, Friendship Lights? Good to see you. So we are right in front of the Ferrara Bakery right here. This is a very famous Italian bakery. And if you keep going down this road, you actually hit right into the Grand Street subway station. David says, thank you for the video. Thank you, David. Friendship Lights. Thank you for being here. Edgar says, Tom, hello from Venezuela. Very cool. Welcome from Venezuela. Manuel, how are you? David, welcome. Iowa Oak says, way to send your country back to the 19th century. Thanks, Putin. Frankie Perez says, hello from Puerto Rico. Welcome, Frankie. So Peter Schiff's Euro-Pacific Bank and Euro-Pacific Capital is located in Puerto Rico. And allegedly, his firm is actually undergoing one of the biggest tax evasion investigations in history. So if you want to learn more about that, if you type in Euro-Pacific Bank in, I think it was the Australian version of the 60 Minutes, it sort of outlines everything. I don't think that Peter Schiff is in the wrong. I think that, any sort of celebrity figure in finance that is very outspoken about not paying taxes, usually they tend to be targeted by the IRS. Atomic Skittles 678 says, hey, Tom, will you be exploring Soho tonight? So we may go back through there again. The internet, I'm not too sure about the internet there, though. For some reason, the internet in Manhattan hasn't been that good. But we will try to go there tonight. Good to see Atomic Skittles. DJ, what's up? Mike 9040 says, Tom, why is there so much trash on the streets? Well, I think a lot of the restaurants have to put the garbage bags outside so the sanitation workers can pick them up. But check out this view of the Empire State Building here. I think this is one of my favorite views. You can see all the way from Little Italy all the way up to the Empire State Building, which is awesome. Right here on Grand Street. Hey, I see Elliot Wave is here. Elliot Wave Review says, wow, really? Peter Schiff hates Bitcoin and loves gold. Yes, he does. So Peter Schiff has a really good podcast. It's actually kind of funny. If you guys, I'm not sure if anybody is on Twitter, I would definitely follow Peter Schiff as well as his son. It's always interesting to see those two go back and forth about Bitcoin, because his son, you know, is a younger generation, obviously Gen Z guy, and I think he gets it a little bit more than his father. Hey everybody, the one and only Disney cast members is awesome view. Good to see you, Disney. Hope everything's coming along well with the house. Charlie Richardson, what's up, Charlie? Good to see you. So I'll turn around and I'll show you guys. This is the main, very famous cannoli place in New York. It's called Cannoli King. Tortellini says New York City needs a better system for trash disposal. Yeah, I mean, I think it didn't used to be like this. I think what happened is during COVID, there was less sort of sanitation pickup times, and I think they're starting to get back to normal now. NBF Forum says gold hasn't appreciated like BTC. So I'm not a big gold guy whatsoever, but I'm actually growing increasingly bullish on gold. I wrote a little bit of a piece about it I think in the Behind the Street newsletter 2 weeks ago. Gold is emerging out of a massive multi-decade or 1 decade cup and handle pattern. So we'll keep our eye on that. Elizabeth is here. Elizabeth Valdez, to be specific, says, hello from California. It's my first time here. I'll be subscribing. Hey, Elizabeth, thank you for joining us. We are in New York City's Little Italy tonight. Hopefully I can make my way to California soon as well. Charlie Richardson says cloud computing is a lot of fun. What's up, Charlie? Which platform are you working on? AWS? James Davidson says, Tom, in September they had San Gennaro's feast that lasted a good 2 weeks. Yeah, and I missed that. I missed it last year. Hey, NG is here. Says, I would love a cannoli right now. What's up, NG? Good to see you. Jay Spence says, ooh, I miss New York City so much. Ooh, I just lost your comment. We lived off of 48th Street and Broadway. You're close to the Manhattan Bridge. Would be cool walk at night. Yeah, maybe we'll do that walk. I just got to check out the network. For some reason, for whatever, I think they're doing a lot of carrier aggregation, turning down a lot of cell sites and then returning up a lot of the cellular towers here. So I think that's what has caused the majority of the internet issues. But we'll see. If the internet's not too bad over there, maybe we'll try to walk over. Hey, Friendship Lights, thank you so much for the $10 donation. You are very kind. Says, happy Lent, Tom. You have been a great source of unity for people, including myself, during COVID. Wishing you happiness and success. Well, thank you, Friendship Lights, and happy Lent to you as well. Yeah, so Fridays, we don't eat meat, right? And then last week on Wednesday was Ash Wednesday. So hopefully everybody is doing well with all of that. But thanks again, Friendship Lights, for the donation. I appreciate it very, very much. We're on the corner of Hester Street here. Oh, there's a ton of people here in Little Italy tonight. Ruby Falcone, how is your weekend going? Robert is here. Good to see you, Robert, Disney cast member. Coffee is here. Love that username. That may be the best username on YouTube. ABC says 1971. $35 gold, 1980, 850. It's definitely been a good store of value, but essentially gold has traded sideways since 2010. But look, if we break those highs, because I think we're now for the first time in quite some time trading above 1900. If we break the highs to new all-time record highs, I will have to be forced to buy gold. I think this is a new place. I'm not sure what it's called. It's called Copy. Or Cappy? It looks pretty good. I always like all the fire escapes here. Hey, Pixel Logic, what's up? Ruby Falcone says, was that a bakery? I think it's called C-A-P-Y. Cappy? Yeah, Michelle McGraw. I remember that. Michelle's like, we used to ride the skateboard down there. Yeah, I think one night on the stream we actually rode the skateboard over Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge too. Everybody, hold on 1 second. I just got to do something on my other phone. Okay, sorry about that. I think we are good. Hey, Mike C says, imagine putting your life savings into starting a business in times like these. Jay says, ever listen to Roxy Music Country Life? I have not. Ruby Falcone. Yeah, I'm not too sure what that was. It said, I think it was actually, I actually don't know what that was. I gotta go back and look at it. So now we are on Mulberry Street making our way to Chinatown. Hey, 3030 Tom says, are we live tonight? Yes, we are. Good to see you, 3030 Tom. Jay says, Tom, I bought a lot of gold stocks this week. Interesting. I wish you well. Which ones in particular? Hey, Pixelogics is Tom. I'm seeing a lot of graffiti in this area. Triple G says was watching a Fort Lauderdale Beach live stream and was expecting to see more tattoos on people. Interesting, interesting. Pixelogic says, are you seeing a lot less people wearing masks on the streets? To be honest, I don't really notice it too much. But yeah, I mean, when I'm walking around, I don't know how to explain it. I just really don't notice if people are wearing it or not. It's not really the first thing on my mind. But in terms of, what do you call it, like mandates, I think everything is pretty much lifted. I think everything is good. So I don't think you have to wear it. But honestly, sometimes I'll just wear the mask when it's freezing, because if we're streaming outside for 3 or 4 hours, it definitely does help keep warm. Hey, Maylee says, love Chinatown and Little Italy. Good to see ya. Hey, Lynn Marie says, hello, Tom, from Saratoga, New York. Good to see ya. D says, John Gotti had a hangout on Mulberry Street. Good to see you. D Dirty. James is the city that never sleeps. Tom Excedo says, so much honking tonight. Kurt Fleur2 says, Tom, good night. Good to see you, Kurt. Kurt says, gold might be a good pick. It could. I mean, if we crack those highs, if we go to new all-time record highs, I think I'll have to buy some just as a trend trade. Yeah, somebody says wear it on the subway too. I think I'll always wear a mask on the subway no matter what anymore. Not just because of the COVID-19, but because the subway is disgusting. Like, think about all of the disgusting air that we're breathing in every day on the subway. And, you know, I was actually watching, I forget what news organization did it. It may have been New York One, but they said anytime a subway car passes the train, it kicks up all of the disgusting dust and even like rat poison and stuff too. Did anybody else see that? I feel like we covered that on one stream. Like, and all the air that you feel in the subway, sometimes it's windy in the subway. That is like the dirtiest air possible. Yeah, Melee says, I agree. The tunnel smell and fumes are bad. Appreciate it. I agree with you. Mike C says, Tom, would you buy physical gold or paper gold? I'd probably buy the ETF GLD if it breaks the highs. But again, it's not financial advice, just talking between us. I think I would mainly do it more along the lines of a trend trade, because if you measure the measured move on that base is probably a 50% higher if we break new all-time highs. It could just fizzle out and not crack the highs, but I don't own any gold right now. Ren says, Tom, don't buy digital currency. Too late. I already own quite a bit of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But they are in gross downtrends right now. You are right. So it could go lower. It could go to zero. Western Mass Dave says, people in the Asian countries wear masks all the time. They think nothing of it. Yeah, I think it's more of a respect thing, as well as, like, one of my good buddies lives in Korea. I gotta get a glass of water. Hold on 1 second. I gotta get like a water bottle. In Korea, they tend to wear masks all the time because when China runs the factories, it creates smog. And unfortunately, the smog makes its way over to South Korea, so they tend to wear masks all the time. And that's another reason why I think anytime I'm going to take the subway, I'm probably going to wear it, just because I don't want to breathe in all of the particles and the nastiness. I think it's probably a better idea. Because think about all of those microparticles we're breathing in, like the microdust every day. Definitely can't be good for the health. So right up here is one of my favorite places to go in Chinatown. We've been here before on the stream. Malays, there's a lot of pollution in China. Shanghai, I agree. Wear a mask in the subway. Hey, Beijing Charlie, good to see you. Has been breathing New York City air for 20 years and still here. Yeah, I've probably been breathing it about the same. But then again, you know, who knows the long-term ramifications of that. You know, just to give you an idea, after 9/11, you know, a lot of the first responders got very, very sick with all of these bizarre sort of 9/11 related illnesses. You know, my uncle was in Local 14, which is the operating engineers union. So he was down there pretty much for 2 months sleeping in his crane, helping with the cleanup. And now he has severe respiratory issues just from being down there. So we have no idea the sort of horrible stuff that first responders were breathing in down there. Hey, Li Duck 52, it's good to see you. Welcome. So this is called Great New York Noodletown. It's fantastic. Very cheap, very affordable. And it's one of my favorite places here in Chinatown. Disney cast member says, Tom, do you prefer a Disney cast member? I don't think I could tell you the difference between those cuisines, to be totally honest. If I'm just being honest. Abdullah says, hey Tom, I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I've joined the stream last. Hey Abdullah, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. So I want to take you guys down this block down here, and you're gonna be able to see some amazing artwork. Okay, yeah, let's see what it says. It says, we will be closed for renovation on March 1st. We'll be reopening. Oh my God, so it's going to be closed for a long time. Jeez. I can't believe that. Well, I mean, I guess it's for the better. So yeah, it's going to be closed for renovations for quite a long time. Until June. Wow. Long Island Duck says, Tom, people say the Little Italy in the Bronx is better. I heard that too. I heard that there's a big Little Italy in the Bronx. The one in Manhattan's nice too. I haven't been to the one in the Bronx in a long, long time. But this is one of my favorite streets down here. Boulay says, hello, I would love to go to visit Chinatown. Elliot Wave Review says, are you Italian? What is your background? I am half and half. I am a pretty nice mix of Irish and Italian. Off the Hook says the Bronx is growing. I heard that as well. Sadie's is going to New York City for the first time in May. Very excited. Well, it's a fantastic time to come visit the city. That's when everything is starting to thaw out. Somebody says Arthur Avenue in the Bronx is where Little Italy is. Arthur says, hey, Walks, good to see you. Arturo Miller, welcome. This is one of my favorite streets in Chinatown. Hey, Carter's here. What's up, Carter? Malays is very quiet on Pell Street. Elliot Wave reviews his thoughts on Joe Rogan. He's Italian and Irish also. Yeah, I think Joe Rogan has a good podcast. I think my favorite Joe Rogan podcast was when he had Dr. Carl Hart on the show. And I think that's probably one of his least watched podcasts. But when I was studying criminal justice and criminology in college, I did a lot of studying of Professor Dr. Carl Hart's work, mainly on the idea of decriminalizing marijuana and other harder drugs. And Dr. Carl Hart is actually also a professor at Columbia University. Really, really smart guy. And he totally changed my opinion on drugs in general, in terms of criminalizing them and things like that. And he also has a really good book out too, if you guys want to check that out. Beijing Charlie, good to see you. He did not say that, but I understand where you're coming from. Buy the book, good to see you. Bobwa says, hello Tom, thank you for the video. Watching it while my daughter Jessica is baking some cinnamon rolls. Very cool. Well, thank you for watching. Ninja says, I have some shrooms right now. Hope you enjoy them. I think there's going to be a lot of innovation and a lot of investment opportunities in psychedelics over the next 10 years. So we'll keep our eye on that. Smee Media says, what is the line for? I'm not sure what the line is for. Maybe it's some sort of a club or something like that. David says, New York is wonderful. I agree. So this is one of my favorite murals over here. I think we saw it last time. Ninja says, hi, thanks y'all. I didn't try any tonight. There for camping. Yeah, I've never done mushrooms. I probably won't, but again, if anybody wants to read that book by Dr. Carl Hart, he's actually a professor at Columbia. It totally changed my perspective on psychedelics, on marijuana. I think there's many use cases, and I think just as long as things aren't abused, very positive things can come out of anything. Alan Wilson's like, Tom, well, let's get in line and find out. Kurt Fleur2 says the line is for an exclusive bar. I think that's the spot I went to years ago. It's so expensive to get in there. Wow. Yeah, maybe it's one of those speakeasy bars. One of those resurrected speakeasy bars. Oops, sorry. Well, then again, when my family came to the United States, that's the business that we were in. We owned a lot of the speakeasy bars near Times Square. Hey, that was interesting. Mike C says, who is the guy in the mural? I'm not too sure, but I'll show the tags of the people who made it. They're very detailed. They're very beautiful. Hey, Jay says, hey, Tom, did you ever rent out the extra space in your Miami home? I did. And it's going quite well, but I'm doing some beta testing with that as well. I'm thinking about doing a hybrid model between a traditional Airbnb and then maybe letting medical students rent out the space for like 3 months at a time. So I'm still doing some testing with it. Ninja says, yes, I agree, definitely, Tom. Legalize shrooms. I would love to grow many strains. Yeah, I think there's a lot of use cases, and I think anything that's abused, right, is negative. But I think if we really understand it a little bit better, there's a lot of use cases for many, many things. And I think that decriminalizing it actually makes it safer, because when you have gangs as well as the cartels that are selling these types of drugs, that incentivizes bad behavior. But if we can have a controlled source that distributes, marijuana, now it doesn't have to go through all those nefarious activities, which can lead to different types of crimes and organized crimes like sex trafficking and things like that. So I think if we make it a government regulated entity, it'll cut down on a lot of those nefarious activities. Which I never thought about that before until I read that book and listened to a lot of the lectures at Columbia. So let's try to, I'm trying to think, because I think we're gonna get a dead spot over here. I'm trying to think of where we should go. Atomic Skittles says, Tom, I really like your point of view on things. Appreciate it. Yeah, and this is a relatively new point of view. I used to be extremely anti anything that has to do with drugs or anything like that. But, that's what happens in life. You learn new things, listen to different people's perspectives, and you can change your opinion sometimes. I'm trying to remember the name of that book. I'll put it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go home, I'm going to look, oh man, it's in my house in Miami. I'm just going to Google it and I'll put it in the Discord. I think it's actually a free audiobook on YouTube as well. But I will put it in the Discord, I promise. Hey, Leah is here. What's up, Leah? Good to see you. Christian Wilson says we should make a city all stoners. Manuel says good night and take care, everybody. Thank you for joining tonight. Hope you enjoyed the streams. Mike C says drugs lower ambition. Yeah, in many cases, like again, in moderation, right? So if you're just sitting home all day smoking weed, you're probably not going to be that ambitious. But there's different use cases. Like one of my buddies, when he was young, he did 2 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And, marijuana is better for him than taking these synthetic either painkillers or these other things these anxiety medications. So I think there's many use cases, but obviously to your point, which I agree with, anything that's abused is horrible. I don't participate in any of that activity, but I'm definitely not against it for other people who could find a use case. Clarence Jackson, what's up, man? Says, Tom, what is your favorite restaurant in Chinatown? We just passed it, but unfortunately it's going to be closed until June, which kind of stinks. But it's New York Noodle Town. It's right up here. It's on the end of this block. But it's going to be closed for renovations until June, which I had no idea up until a couple minutes ago, actually. Yeah, Brian says some painkillers could be addictive. Yeah, so it was really crazy. One of my good friends that I played soccer with in high school, during one of our state championship, quarterfinal games, he broke his collarbone, and it was excruciatingly painful for him. And the doctors gave him these painkillers that, unfortunately, he became addicted to them and essentially ruined his life, which is horrible. And that's a big problem, especially on Long Island, in upstate New York. A lot of those pills, the kids, and people that just are getting surgeries, they are prescribed these opiates, and it's a really, really bad situation because they're highly, highly addictive, extremely highly addictive. Hey, Dallas is here. What's up, man? Good to see you. Long time no see, Dallas. War Walker, what's up? Hey, Bernie Sanders 2020. This is, how do you feel about you running Action Kid out of New York City? Well, I live in Miami as well. So me and Action Kid are both now living in Miami. And I think he's gonna like it. I think he's gonna enjoy it. And I think he's gonna be outrageously successful in his new ventures. KJ says, Tom, have you ever passed by 965th Avenue? I'm sure I've passed by that address, but I'm not too sure what it is exactly. Christina says, Tom, long-term prescription drugs are dangerous. I agree. Cosmo Scary says, New Yorkers moving to Florida isn't anything new. Yeah, I mean, Miami is the 6th borough of New York. And I think, and you know, I've said this before, I think that obviously the pandemic has really showed everybody that you can live and work from wherever you want, especially if you work in tech or you work in banking, and you could actually be more productive. So I think you're going to see more people owning multiple properties in many different states and countries, because a lot of employers will allow you the flexibility to either work 100% remote or have a hybrid sort of working environment. So I think you're going to see a lot more people become more transient. So maybe live, you know, 4 months out of the year in New York, 4 months in Florida, 4 months in California. I think it's going to become the new normal. I don't think there's anything super crazy about it. Bobo says it's morning here in Bali. Welcome everybody from Bali. Good to see you. Hey, Penelope's here. Says, hey Tom, I think you were right about psychedelics and marijuana. Much better than opioids. I know from pain experience, luckily I was aware and never got addicted. Yeah, it's a massive problem that I think not a lot of people talk about. Jay says, Tom, Miami was terrible 30 years ago. Ren 10 says, Tom, I hope you are right about the new normal work environment. Good to see you, Ren 10. Iowa Oaks says, I'll watch videos just because it's New York. You'd have to pay me to watch Miami videos because I'd prefer to live in Florida because of the warm weather. Awesome. Dallas says, hey Tom, are you in Chinatown? We are, but now we are walking back up towards Little Italy, and hopefully when we reach 34th Street the stream won't go out, but we'll give it another whirl. Yeah, War Walker's like Miami has grown a lot. War Walker is our fellow Miamian in the chat. Christina says, Tom, what do you think about the new mall in Aventura coming in 2026? So I have not heard about that actually, but what I did hear about is supposedly, and I think this private school is here in New York City as well. It's called the Avenues. I'm not sure if anybody's heard about it, but it is a private school, and supposedly it costs like, these people pay almost $65,000 a year to send their children to this private school, which to me, I just couldn't even imagine that. But supposedly they're building a campus, I believe, near Brickell. So there's one, I'm not sure where it is, I always get it wrong, but in New York, I think there's one in Chelsea. It's called the Avenues. Or is it in Tribeca? I forget. Cynthia Beal says, I would love Fort Lauderdale. I would live in Fort Lauderdale because of the beaches, but New York City is a special place, even with all the issues. Yeah, I think that it's not about one or the other, right? It's not about New York or Miami. I think you could choose both. If you want to live in both places, live in both places. If you want to have 10 houses, go ahead and have 10. It's not one or the other. It's do whatever you want. You know, if you want to spend half the year in Miami, half the year in New York City, knock yourself out. I think that's fantastic. And that's pretty much what everybody does anyway, or at least a lot of people. At least a lot of people on Long Island do that. Wants is, for our sake, we must recycle garbage. Almost in every street we see big bags of garbage. I agree with that. Brian says $65,000 is ridiculous, but when you could afford it, you know money is not the issue. Yeah, that's true. But then again, I mean, even if I had that kind of money, I don't really know if I would pay to send my kids to those exclusive schools, because I want my kids to be like normal, right? I mean, I went to a regular public school, and I think when kids can go to these big, extravagant private schools, I think they don't get a well-rounded experience. You know, they may get a really good education in terms of the academics, but I think that segregates people from real life. I think you have to interact with students from all different walks of life and incomes and things like that. I think that's important, to be honest. If you just hang out with all elitists your entire life, I think you're going to get maybe perhaps a skewed perspective of the world. I don't know. Off the Hook says, I agree. Bobo says, I'm a newcomer, just subscribe to your channel. Well, thank you for being here, and hopefully you're enjoying it. Bernie Williams says, Tom, I agree. I went to the worst school in the United Kingdom. It's different. They lose life experiences. Andrea's A is just luxuriously skewed. Somebody says like Donald Trump.
See, I told you, look, they changed the name.
You're right.
Andy says agreed. Good to see you. Andy from South Korea. Welcome. Hey, Rich is here. Says hello from Wisconsin. Tom, do you catch yourself walking softly when crossing sidewalk grates / panels? So when it snows, definitely 100%. So what Rich, I think that was Rich. Let me see. Yeah, what Rich is talking about is when you have, I'll show you guys. There's actually one right up here. So whenever it snows, these things become the most slippery things on the planet. Right here. I've seen a lot of people fall and crack their head open on these. But yeah, 100%. Would definitely slow down on those. Joseph is here. Good to see you. FB says, Tom, do you have an IG? I do. So if you look in the links in the descriptions of the video, you could follow me on Twitter and all that stuff and connect on the Discord. War Walker says, I'm getting famished with all the eating going on. So here's the Ferrara Bakery again. Christina says Denver was blasted with snow about 2 weeks ago. Mike Hitchcock, good to see you, my friend. Mike S says a manhole covers. Good to see you. MG Reedy says hello there, good to see you. Western Mass Dave. Bobby Boomer says pizza. Good to see you. Alcoa says, in Tijuana, I went to public schools, and yes, rich people here have another idea of what life really is. I hope they don't lose their money. That's a good point. And also, I think that would be kind of a little bit of a boring life if you're only hanging out with like people that are mega wealthy. You gotta hang out with everybody. But then again, I never went to a private school, so I wouldn't know. So maybe I'm being biased. MG Reedy says, can you please walk past the building? Shown in Friends. To be totally honest, I don't even know where that is. I'm just not a big Friends type of guy. But if you tell me where it is, I'll definitely go out of my way to do that for you. Tortellini's like, Tom, maybe we're just missing out. Maybe, perhaps. Shot by Scott is here. Says, happy Saturday, Tom. What is up, Scott? Welcome to you. So everybody, obviously, since it's the weekend, we don't have a dedicated topic for the stream. But I wanted to leave you off with a very well-written article that I was reading today in Investors Business Daily about a semiconductor company called Alpha and Omega. So if you type !Alpha in the chat, the Nightbot should drop the link to that article, Alpha and Omega. And I think that semiconductor company is gonna be a really up and comer because they specialize in making chips that are very energy efficient. So if we think about a lot of the government's Energy Star ratings, if you buy an air conditioner, if you buy, refrigerator, dishwasher, a lot of them have to live up to those Energy Star ratings. And as we know, a lot of these appliances require semiconductors and a lot of them. So I think Alpha and Omega is one to watch. Investors Business Daily did an interview with the CEO. So if you want to check that out, click the link that the Nightbot dropped. And I think it'll be a good weekend read for everybody. Dallas says, hey, Tom, quick question. Have you heard of Team C's before? I have not. Is it located here in New York? Hey, Leida, good to see you. Christian says, took a bath on that Bitcoin. This is Christian Wilson. Hey, retired Florida guy says, hello, Tom. You stated you would not invest in Russian ETFs. Indexes citing moral concerns. Why not? Money is money, and Russian government oligarchs do not represent typical Russian citizens. That is true, but I mean, even I said a multifaceted reason, not just for moral concerns, but I think the geopolitical risk is too great to invest in some particular emerging markets. So if we look at the performance of the Russian stock market, it's actually outperformed a lot of other emerging markets up until the point where Vladimir Putin decided to go crazy and invade Ukraine. So if I could invest into great US companies that are compounding out their earnings at an annualized rate of 25% plus year over year, why do I need to go invest into Russia when Putin could, go off at any second and tank the stocks 90% overnight? I think what I want to try to do is set up the most asymmetric risk profile possible. So I want very, very high or positive asymmetric risk. And in my view, and I could be wrong, I'm not right about everything. I'm only right about 30% of the time, which is slightly lower than average. But why would I put my hard-earned money into the Russian stock market when, they could go crazy and start a whole other war, and then the stocks are down 50%. Long Island Ducks says, Tom, is SNL live tonight? I'm not sure. Are they in season? Is that what it's called? In season, I guess. Hey, Mateo is here. Says, what's up, Tom? What's up, Mateo? Good to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying your Saturday night so far, Mateo. Andrea's Ace is just buy real estate, dummy. Great quote. Love that quote. Hey, Dallas is Tom. I have to leave. I hope you enjoy your night, and thank you for the streams. Dallas, thank you for being here. And please enjoy your weekend as well. Crypto Coffee says hello. Good to see you. Nicole B. Winning says, Tom, I followed you on IG. We should connect next time you're in New York. Thank you so much for watching. And I will definitely try to connect. Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it. Mike C says, I would not be buying real estate at a market top. This is Mike C. Yes, so Mike makes a very good point. This could potentially be a massive top in real estate, but you know, we also talked about the differences between now and 2008. And I think the biggest difference between now and 2008 is the underwriting quality, or the quality of the people who are acquiring these properties. You know, in 2008, the reason why the housing market crashed was because everybody started defaulting on their loans at once, right? Because a lot of people had adjustable rate mortgages. A lot of the mortgage bankers were not doing income verification. They weren't checking credit scores. But now I could tell you it's a whole different ballgame. Having bought a house about 4 months ago, it was almost impossible for me to get a loan. Like literally almost impossible. In order for me to even be considered, my mortgage bankers, like, you're gonna have to put down a minimum of 25%. And on an investment property, I really didn't want to put down 25%, but in order to get the property, I had to. And that's what you're seeing across the board. Many people are coming in with all cash offers. So as sort of the way the risk profile works is, the more money you put down on the property, the less likely it is for default risk, right? So if you're gonna have a cascade of defaults on the mortgages, you know, those tend to be to people with very low credit scores, very low incomes, and only putting like 3 to 5% down on the properties. But a lot of people now are putting all cash, 25 to 50% down. So we'll see. I mean, the old saying on Wall Street is it's never different. So I guess I'm saying it's different this time. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe we will have a crash in real estate, but I think I lean on the side of we probably won't. Maybe a 15% correction, but a total fallout, I don't think so. But look, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. Mateo, good to see you. So small businesses and restaurants seem to thrive in New York City. Yo, we have the New York City walking show here, man. That's so sick. New York City walking show says, Tom, be careful in that area. Stay safe. Thank you, my friend. So cool. New York City walking show. Good Saturday night to you, my friend. What's up? Yeah, NYC walking show. We're downtown today because the internet is not good uptown. Especially by 34th Street. There tends to be a lot of dead zones. I'm not sure why, but good to see you, man. Hope you're well. Christian says, when World War II ended, Times Square is where the vets met. Very cool. I think I saw some photos. There's some very famous photos of that as well. You are right. Hey, the Antagonizer's here. Says, hey, Tom. Good to see you, Antagonizer. Mike C says, I look at your Miami home as a business expense. Says Mike C. NMB045 says, Tom, in Canada, anybody whose down payment is lower than 20% has to buy default insurance. It's the same thing, I think, in the US as well. But you are right. The NYC walking shows, Tom, always a pleasure to see your streams. Yeah, the internet connection is a bit weird up on 33rd Street. Yeah, it has been for the past couple days. You are right on that. I think they're reappropriating some of the cellular towers, so maybe it will improve very soon. Hey, John is joining us. Says, hey, Tom, hope all is well with you. Bitsmag TV, what's up? Says, we're in Soho tonight. Love it. Good evening. What's up, Bitsmag TV? British Gray, the one and only from Tampa, Florida. Good to see you. Leah, good to see you. Dutchman is here. Says, hey, Tom, happy Saturday. Likewise. Melee says, cryptocurrency and NFT is going to be a good investment. Well, I think so. On last night's stream, we actually did talk about NFTs briefly, and there was a really good article that came out in Barron's last week. But here's what I think about the NFT market, and I sort of talked about it before ad nauseum, so you guys already know my take. But I think a lot of the stuff that's going on right now is very speculative, and I think the vast majority of the activity or the NFTs will probably go to zero, and I think a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. But I also think that's normal. That's nothing new. Usually whenever there is a new emerging technology, it'll run through those cyclical growth cycles. So a good book to read on market cycles would be Principles by Ray Dalio. And Ray Dalio is the owner of the largest hedge fund in the world, Bridgewater Associates. So I do see value in being able to verify ownership of digital assets. And also, I think it'll allow a lot of startup founders to raise money without giving away equity to private equity venture capital. So I think there's some good use cases. Yeah, Mike C says, I'm an old guy. The NFT thing makes no sense to me. I think a lot of it is junk, but I do think that over the long run, I do see value in it. But I think a lot of this stuff about people spending $1 million to buy a JPEG of an ape, I think that stuff is a little bit frothy. And he says, Tom, do you ever trade on margin? Very seldom do I trade on margin, only if we're in a ripping bear market. But right now, I'm almost 80% cash. Because two Mondays ago, we had a follow-through day. I bought a couple names, and I lost money, and I got stopped out. Which is, running a long-short portfolio, that's the name of the game. So I got banged up a little bit in the market the past 2 weeks. But what can we do? It happens. Life, Liberty, and Guns says, Tom, PMI insurance is less than 20%. Got it. Nick Rock says it's called PMI here in the United States for less than 20% down on a home. Yeah, so maybe that's another good thing that came out of putting down more than 20%. I didn't have to pay that PMI, I guess. But then again, I think you could write that off, can't you? I'm not sure. I'm not a CPA, so please don't take my advice. But I believe you can write off the PMI if you're paying it, right? This is Tom. You have such a great attitude about taking losses. Appreciate it. Abdullah says, good night, Tom and chat. It is my pleasure to join the stream for a little bit. I always enjoy it. It is 6 a.m. here, and I have to start the day and go off to work. Abdullah, thank you for joining. Appreciate you very much. Yeah, so in my long short portfolio that I run in Interactive Brokers, I'm very disciplined in my trading strategy. So anytime we have a follow-through day, I do buy select names. But obviously, when the market is in a really severe downtrend, those follow-through days are prone to fail. In which case, I probably lost about 2% overall equity, which stings, but it's not like the end of the world. Vane Chung says, hello, Tom. Good to see you. Hey, Lady O, what's up? I was on your stream earlier today with Out and About. Good to see you, Lady O. Vane Chung, thank you for joining. Beijing Charlie, welcome. Joffrey says, owning an NFT doesn't make much sense unless you have the resources to go after copyright violators. That's actually an interesting thought, too. Well, I think what is the main broker for a lot of the NFTs? Is it OpenSeas, I think? Something like that? I think there was a big issue with them getting hacked. But yeah, if anybody's interested, read that Barron's article. They did a really good job outlining things there in terms of the overall NFT market. And I think the reason why I like the article so much is because they interviewed 4 different analysts on Wall Street. 2 of them had bull theses versus the NFTs and the NFT space. 2 of the analysts on Wall Street had significant bear theses. So you could sort of hear both sides of the argument. Nicole says, Tom, my mom wants to know what precautions you take to walk by yourself late at night. She says, hi. Well, good evening. Yeah, I mean, so the city, that has been a criticism in New York as of late. It has been, unfortunately, getting a little bit less safe, but I am optimistic. You guys know that I tend to be an optimist, and I think that since we have a new mayor, I think he's going to get the job done. I think he's going to clean it up. But, I mean, the only thing I could say is I think you have to be extra careful, obviously, if you're walking by yourself. If, you're a woman, unfortunately, not to sound,
I did a lot of shit.
Sexist or anything, but I think that's just the reality. I think if you're, let's say if you're a grown man, I think you're probably going to be a little bit safer walking at night, because the derelicts and the scumbags, criminals, tend to go after easier targets. And that's just the reality, right? So I think, after 11 o'clock, if you could travel with a friend or something like that, I think that's probably the best idea. And just always keep your head on a swivel. And just look around and be aware of your surroundings. Make sure nobody's following you, some stuff like that. But unfortunately, a lot of the crime that we've been seeing in terms of people getting pushed on the subway tracks, it's been happening more to women as opposed to men. Just because I think the criminals tend to go after like somebody who doesn't have, more of an ability to combat their actions. Yeah, New York City Walking Show says it's always better to look after your surroundings. Agreed. Yeah, so the NYC Walking Show says the mentally ill people tend to do it the most, which is unfortunate because, like, I don't know. I have to be careful about how I word this, because I don't want it to seem like I'm making an excuse for these people, which I'm not. But some of these people have severe mental health issues, unfortunately, especially, if anybody's ever walked near Penn Station, like these people, like you could tell they're not, like they need help, and I think that the city is not doing a good job of providing them with whatever they need, if that's counseling, if that's medications or what. I don't know. I'm not an expert. But those do tend to be the people that are committing these crimes. But look, I think if we look at the statistics and we analyze the data, New York City is still a very safe city, right? But I think the thing where people are concerned is we see it taking a little bit of a turn for the worse, and we don't want it to go back to those levels where it was in the 90s. It's not there yet, but I think people are just concerned about, could it potentially go there? I don't personally think it will. I think Eric Adams is going to be 20 times better than de Blasio as a mayor, because, he has police experience. He was a police officer, so he understands. He knows what it takes to get the job done and to clean up the crime. John says, I agree with you, Tom. Good to see you, John. Gummy Bear, good to see you. Mike C says, other places in New York City that have tents on the sidewalk. Very few, but very few. Hey, Webley Coffee Spill, good to see you, my friend. For the love of God. Charlie P. Well, I think so. I'm hearing a lot of comments about Penn Station. Just trying to read up on the chat. Hey, Lev Perks says, how's it going, Tom? It's going really good. Gummy Bears says, Tom, Adam sent the police to clean up the subways. Why didn't he do it earlier? Well, look, so I'll make one last comment on it, but I don't really want to get too political because this isn't a political show. We just sort of hang out, walk around after work and talk about the markets and really anything, just hang out. But I think Eric Adams has two personalities. And this is just my take on it. He was a police officer for a long time. This guy knows what it takes. You know, he was obviously a police officer in some of New York City's worst environments. So this guy's a tough guy, right? He's a sharp guy, but he has to play the political game. If you sort of, pick up what I'm putting down, he has to go along with all the political, lovey-dovey, all the people who are moving here from Ohio, all the crazies. But he's going to get it done. That's all I could really say. But he has to do it in a politically correct way. The biggest concern to me is the uptick in hate crimes versus Jewish communities and Asian communities. That's been it's just been almost embarrassing for New York, honestly. So I think that has to be first priority to get that under control, because it's honestly an embarrassment for people who want to move here, and just to know that you have crazies out there targeting people just because of their race is, in a city like New York, it's not common. So now that that's happening, it's concerning to people. But look, we'll see. Hey, Felix is here. What's up, Felix? This is Hola, Tom. Happy Saturday night. So Felix, something funny. I was actually watching. For some reason, I went back into the channel and I watched the first stream we ever did. And it was me, Felix, and I think Sunshine After Rain just hanging out. Just the three of us. Those were good times. Crazy. But good to see you, Felix. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Clarence Jackson says, Tom, stay away from politics. 7.9 billion people in the world, 7.9 billion different points of view. Yeah, I tend to respect everybody's point of view. Doesn't matter if you Democrat, Republican. I get along with everybody. Mauricio says, don't be jaywalking. So funny story about jaywalking. If you ever jaywalk in Nevada, like, they do not play around with that at all. I almost got arrested because I had to go on a business trip to Las Vegas, and I didn't know what I was doing. So somebody said, you got to try In-N-Out Burger. So I'm like, all right, I'll try it. So my hotel was right across the street from In-N-Out Burger, but the highways are like 5 lanes long. I'm like, crazy. So it was like a mile to cross the street. So I'm like, I'm just gonna jaywalk it. I jumped over the median. Big mistake. Huge mistake. And there was like 3 cop cars come screeching in. They're like, what the hell do you think you're doing? They're like, do you know it's a crime in Nevada to jaywalk, and you could actually go to jail for 6 months. I was like, dude, no, I'm from New York. I'm like, we do whatever we want. And so he checked my license. He's like, you cannot do that. He's like, you absolutely cannot. He's like, we see you doing that again. He's like, we're gonna have to take you in. And I was like, oh my God. So they do not play around with jaywalking there. But the police officer explained to me why. Because he's like, we have a lot of people from out of town that drive these cars like 100 miles an hour, and we've had like a significant amount of pedestrians die from jaywalking because the cars are going so fast you can't even see them. So I guess I understand it, but he let me off. I didn't have to pay any ticket. Yeah, Felix says yes, Tom, and I'm still here. It's almost been a year. Crazy how time flies. Atomic Skittles says that's why the Vegas Strip has so many skywalks. And also, it was literally like 125 degrees when I went there too. Long Island Duck says, do they ticket the speeders at least? I mean, I was only there for a couple of days, I would imagine, but... Somebody says, why is it called jaywalking? Not sure. Yeah, Ruby Falcone says, absolutely, it was for your safety. Agreed. Yeah, I think I just wasn't thinking, because in New York, it's just, you walk whatever. But Nevada is not New York. Let's just say that. I did enjoy my time there, though. NMB045 says, Tom, any good bakeries in New York City that sells Middle Eastern / Mediterranean baked goods? I'm sorry about that. I can't. I'm not sure, actually. Mediterranean or Middle Eastern? I'm not too sure. Somebody says, did you ever eat at In-N-Out? I did. I didn't really like it that much, to be totally honest. But it was all right. But I didn't really like it. Well, I think the best bakery I've ever been to in New York was when I lived in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. But I forget the name of the bakery. But it has the best donuts ever in the 5 boroughs, in my opinion. I'm not sure if Photos from Around New York is in the chat, but he knows what it's called. But that one is my favorite bakery of all time. It's in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Shot by Scott says, Tom, would you skate the Florida-Miami tunnel before they opened it? 100%. Yes, Shot by Scott, we were talking about the Elon Musk's Boring Company is supposedly supposed to, well, they submitted ideas or a proposal to the city of North Miami Beach to build an underground tunnel to alleviate some of the traffic stress. So hopefully they'll do it. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but hopefully they will. Life, Liberty, and Guns is the donut pub good? It is, but I think this other place is better. And I think it's been there for almost 100 years. Bitsmag TV says, Tom, best bagel in New York City. Cat's Delicatessen. So I think my favorite spot is actually in Lower Manhattan. If you go to Leo's Bagels near Hanover Square, that's, when I used to work downtown next to the Deutsche Bank, I would always go there. But it closes at 3, I think. I think it closes at 3 o'clock.
Daniel
Hey.
Larson.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Charlie P says jump in the barrier. But yeah, Leo's Bagels closes at 3, but that's a great spot.
But that's the thing.
Sween Media says H&M Bagels opening. I think there's one location opening in the Moynihan train station, or the newer Penn Station as it's called. NMB 045 says, what's another example of a place that's 100 years old? I'm not sure if Katz is. Maybe Katz Delicatessen. Hey, Solo 401 is here. What's up, Solo? Good to see you. Duke LaFrance says, Jaywalker originated during the early 1900s. Jake Walker was a slang name for a drunk who used to walk across crosswalks. Very interesting. Love that. Very interesting. So everybody, as you know, I think we have a lot of new people here. So Monday through Friday, we tend to have designated topics of discussion, but on the weekends, we sort of just walk around and hang out. But on Monday, I will be sending out the Behind the Street newsletter, which is a weekly financial newsletter that I write for, I think, over 630 people now. I think roughly 620, 630.
You have a cigarette.
No cigarettes.
Got a cigarette on $1.
So if you want to sign up for the Behind the Street newsletter, if you type !news, NEWS in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link where you could sign up for free and you will receive the newsletter via email on Monday nights. The Swan says, love to see New York City without all the scaffolding. Yeah, I think a lot of it's coming down, but as we head up to the 20s, like 23rd Street, you're gonna see a ton of it. Hey, Kenny says, Tom, where are we at right now? So we are approaching 14th Street, Union Square, so East 14th Street. And if you look to the right, there's actually the Whole Foods. And I think Michael Welch is actually the manager of this Whole Foods. He is a longtime viewer of the stream. Atomic Skittles, Tom, does the Flatiron building still have scaffolding? It does, unfortunately. So another building that we always walk past. Hey, West Babylon, Long Island. Is Federal Hall. And Federal Hall is going to be covered in scaffolding for 10 years now. So I think about 2 months ago, we finally were able to go there on the stream. And Federal Hall is right outside of the New York Stock Exchange. Yeah, Lady Sarita says, from what Tom explained, the scaffolding will never go away. Hey, Juan Vasquez is here. What's up, bro? Always enjoy your live streams. Hope all has been good in Florida. Yes, all has been good so far, Juan. Thank you for that. Dukes is careful. 14th-ish is kind of dangerous, says Duke. Hamaz case, best pizza in New York is DeFara's. It is. So that is in Brooklyn. That is probably the best slice I've ever had in my life. Yeah, Jonathan Richards says, I'm so sad about Federal Hall. Yeah, it is a bummer, but supposedly it was like a serious, like the whole building was about to collapse. So I think they're going to do extensive construction on it. For the love of God, just Long Island should be its own state. So I think there was a point where that was actually a topic of consideration, wasn't it? Hey, Paradise Travels, is Tom. Long Island will be nearly 10 million people if you include Brooklyn and Queens, which are technically part of Long Island. That is true. I think the majority of people who are from New York are living on Long Island. So either Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, or Suffolk. Leo says hello, everybody. What's up, Leo? Good to see you, my friend. If you guys are enjoying tonight's stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Frank Gonzalez, I think it's just, I don't think they get fined. Pacific Desert Raid says, what about Staten Island? Well, Staten Island is one of the boroughs. Kenny says the Bronx is the only mainland borough. Very true. Dude LaFrance, did you move to Florida? I did about 4 months ago. I bought an investment property down there. So I will be splitting my time about 50-50 between New York City and Miami. And I'm very, very happy about it. I think these are the two greatest cities on earth. Obviously, I'm very biased being that I'm from New York, but these are the two cities that I like. Denver, Colorado is also in consideration. But I think Denver is going to have to wait a little bit. Okay, so we are going to walk up Broadway. Hopefully we don't have any internet issues. This is right around the spot the last couple streams where we did have internet issues. So we'll see. We'll see how long we could last. Roy's like, there was a time where I could not differentiate Long Island and Long Island City. Well, the real estate market on Long Island has been going crazy. I mean, I guess you could say that about any market. But I think ever since the pandemic, you know, a lot of people in the city, they wanted more space. So a lot of the homes in Nassau and Suffolk County are getting multiple offers above listing price. And many of the real estate is actually being bought with all cash, which is kind of crazy to think about. Vane Chung says, Tom, you're good, and the audio and video are clear. Kenny says, Tom, when are you returning to Miami? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure as of yet. I think somebody in the chat today, I forget, I think it was Marilyn. She sent me a news story that these people are waiting in lines around the block just to view these houses during the open house, which is crazy. And I saw the same thing on Long Island. You know, the demand for housing is so high, and we are at historically low rates of housing supply. So the demand for single family homes is at its highest rate ever. But the inventory is at all-time record lows. And a lot of the single family home builders are not building fast enough, probably to maximize the profits. I think they could probably build a little bit faster, but as we were talking about on previous streams when we did a deep dive into a lot of the single-family home builder earnings reports. They were noting supply chain issues and bottlenecks, as well as increased commodities prices for lumber, copper, as reasons why they cannot build fast enough. But margins are actually pretty good. A lot of the single-family home builders are making pretty good profits right now. Yeah, Mickey, as well as his labor issues, you're totally right. You're right 100%. You know what's another thing that I was talking about with my buddy? I said there's probably going to be, and we were sort of joking, but kind of not really. There's going to be sort of like a joke in the next 10 years that, you know, don't buy any home that was built between 2020 and 2023, because the build quality is probably going to be egregious. Because it seems like these builders are building in haste. They're trying to build so fast, and that can lead to major problems. So I definitely would not buy any new construction, in my view, in my opinion. But if you're having like a custom built home and you're really focused on what they're doing, then I think it would be okay. But there could be a lack of build quality. And the only reason why I come to that conclusion is because not only are they building in haste, but there's a severe shortage of skilled labor, of very talented union workers that are actually able to build these homes. Wow, so check out this shot. This is one of my favorite shots of the Empire State Building. Jerry Covey says, Tom, they have been building like that since 2005. Jeez. Solo 401 says, oh my God, are we on the board? We should be on the board soon, Solo, I promise. But now we are at East 22nd Street, overlooking the Empire State Building. Lady O says, Tom, I like the show Teeny Houses. Some are recent, are really beautiful and well built. I'm gonna have to check that out. Laytha says, the Empire State Building is gorgeous. Good to see you, Laytha. Lewis says, Tom walks on Wall Street. Have you covered the off-the-grid movement and tiny home builders? You know, so I've been seeing a lot of that stuff on LinkedIn, actually. There's some startups that are building like these really economical, like almost pop-up homes where it's only like 2 or 3 rooms and they're extremely affordable. And I was listening to a podcast where they say a lot of those startups could potentially be the reason why, and I don't necessarily agree with this thesis, but they said it could be one of the reasons why the vast majority of real estate actually starts to go down in value over time, because we have more efficient ways of building. Interesting thought. Jonathan Francis here says, good evening, Tom and company. Good to see you. Juan Rosales says, I wish you have 1 million subscribers very soon. Thank you, Juan. I appreciate it. But then again, I think if we had 1 million subscribers, I wouldn't be able to read all the comments. And I kind of enjoy being able to read everybody's comments. But I do appreciate everybody subscribing. I really do. But I kind of like it. I kind of like how we could have a conversation with one another. Duke says, Tom, the Flatiron building is to the left. Yes. So it is to the left, and there's going to be scaffolding here for the next couple of years, unfortunately. Hey, Design Ideas says, good evening, Tom. Did you know it was first called the Empty Building? Empty State Building. It's nicknamed due to 23% occupancy when it first opened in the Great Depression. I did not know that. I did not know that. That's actually really interesting. Did you know that was actually a big plane crash? There was a plane that slammed into the side of the Empire State Building back in the day. Really crazy. Yeah, Jonathan Richards says the construction quality has been awful for the past 45 years. Yeah, so the place I bought was built in 1950. So the place is like a solid, it's just pretty much just like one big concrete solid block. Which I think is what you need if you're gonna buy a place in Southern Florida, because if there's a hurricane, you know, it's gonna rip everything apart. Shot by Scott. Funny. Hey, Jordan B says, honest opinion of living in New York City. I'm considering moving there for work soon. Well, Jordan, I think despite all of the, negative things you hear about the crime, I think this is a great place to live. I still believe that. And if you have work opportunities in New York, I think you should take it. And I think the reason why you should take it is probably for the networking opportunities, because the smartest people, not only from the United States, but all over the world, are coming here to work. You have the best and brightest minds of all over the world coming to New York. So even if you have to live here for 1 or 2 years, even if you have to pay the egregious taxes and yada, 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 the experience that you're going to get is going to be invaluable. The network that you're going to build is going to guide you throughout life. So I think I would say do it. If it were me, I would do it. Duke LaFrance, Tom, I left a year ago, but I am planning on coming back next year. I used to work downtown to the right. Very, very cool. Well, we're glad you're coming back. We are glad you are coming back. Jonathan Richards says, Tom, my house was built in 1986, and it has issues from back then. The 1950s had great construction quality. Wow. Jonathan Richards, what issues are you having? Hey, Joey Garcia, good to see you. I see Juan Rosales, good to see you, Juan. Andy says agreed. Mauricio says that building, the clock building, was the first building in America to have an elevator in 1850. Is that true? That's an awesome fact if that's true. Hey, Talvish is here, says Walks on Wall Street, good to see you. What's up, Talvish? Jack says, Tom, did you know there was a terrorist attack on Wall Street in 1920? I did know that. I actually have a postcard. Well, I shouldn't say a postcard, but I have like a little photo of that. The Swan says, my house was built in 1880s. Geez, it's freezing in here right now. Well, that's right. The Swan is from Ireland, so. Hey, Duke LaFrance says, Tom, I am subscribing. Hey, thank you, Duke. We appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And hopefully you come back to New York soon. And maybe we will run into you one of these nights on our walks. Jonathan says, Tom, the structural end foundation on my house turns out was built on sand. Oof, geez. Well, I mean, my house is probably built on sand too. I live in Miami. Jordan B says, that was amazing advice. I stumbled upon this live stream and now I'm definitely subscribing. Well, thank you, Jordan B. Also, Jordan, we do have a Discord. So if you're interested, if you want to join us on the Discord, we have a segment in the Discord where we talk about networking opportunities for people trying to break into investment banking or software sales or tech sales or really anything. It's sort of like a networking opportunity. So if you want to join us in there, I believe it's like the 3rd or the 4th link in the description. But we have market talks in there, but also networking opportunities for jobs. Nicole B. Winning says, what is the Discord? If you look in the link in the description of this video, I think it'll be the third or the fourth link, I believe, or one of the moderators could post the link. Jonathan says, contractor for my home took shortcuts that are just showing up now. That's the worst, man. That's why you got to find a person who you really, really trust, which is very difficult to do. Hey, Tech Explorers NYC says, good evening. What's up, Tech Explorers NYC? Hey, Triple G says, Tom, they're going to reopen the speakeasies in the Chrysler building, the Cloud Club, and they're going to put an observation deck in there too. Wow, that's going to be crazy. We'll have to probably go check that out. Yeah, so the property I bought is not the most aesthetically pleasing. I'm not even sure if I pronounced that word right. It's literally, but that's sort of the reason why I got it. And, you know, I even did more inspections than normal. And I know a lot of people in this housing market, they are very, they're not making good decisions with foregoing a lot of the inspections. I think that's very foolish. You should always do your housing inspection. But I actually hired a private engineer to come to the house, which I think I had to pay like $500, but I think it's worth it. I mean, you know, if you're going to buy an asset that's almost $500,000, you know, you could spend the $500 to make sure the property is good. And I think a lot of people try to, you know, nickel and dime the inspectors and say, oh, I don't want to pay the $1,000, the $500. But I'm like, dude, you're buying a $500,000 piece of real estate. You got to make sure it's a good property. And the engineer came and he said this thing is like a rock. But then again, you know, my house has no basement. It's on a concrete slab. And the whole thing is concrete block with rebar reinforcement. So it doesn't look the best. But then again, I mean, if you're building in southern Florida, we have hurricanes which could tear the whole house down. So, Melee says, in Florida, don't buy a house near the ocean because of the crazy hurricane storm. Agreed. I agree with you. Mauricio says, Tom, a house is about $300,000 plus minimum on Long Island. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right, man. The housing has gone crazy on Long Island over the past couple years. Western Mass Dave says, Tom, are you doing a lot of landscaping? I am, but that is a big work in progress. Hey, Dan is here, says $500K. Clearly this guy doesn't live in New York. Nice voiceover audio though. Thank you, Dan. Good to see you. Smee Media says, we'll take that, the Swan. Yep. Jonathan Richards says, I would buy a home built in the 1950s in a heartbeat. So yeah, the only thing that I do need to worry about is maybe down the line replacing the electric. Like the electrical wiring could be a little bit out of date and potentially a fire hazard. So, but that, I think I'll do that gradually over time. NMB045 says, how do you find a good contractor or a landscaping contractor? So I'm not going to hire a landscaping contractor. I'm going to try to do everything myself, which may not be the best decision. I've just been watching YouTube videos on how to plant things and how to dig things up, but Mauricio says, yes, we had to replace the electrical panel. So I think mine has a brand new electrical panel, but all the wiring inside is very old, which could, you know, over time it could be like a fire hazard. So I think I'll replace that as the years go on. Samantha R's like, I'm sure he'll do a good job with landscaping. Jonathan Richards says, just update the electrical system, Tom, and you should be good. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it little by little. But that's really the only thing that I don't want to say it's an issue, but I know I'm going to have Robert says, Tom, I wouldn't do the wiring on your own. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to do that on my own. You're right. Got to get an electrician for that. I'd probably blow my face off if I did that on my own. Hey, AG is here. What's up, AG? I see Dalton Buckman. This is Dalton. Good to see you from South Dakota. Very cool. Atomic Skittles says, Tom, you should do a stream through all of Central Park. So when I lived in the city, we did that a lot. But I don't live up by Central Park anymore. So maybe when it gets nicer out, when it doesn't get dark at like 5 o'clock, we'll probably do that again. I actually do want to do it again as well. Ruby Falcone says, please don't blow your face off, Tom. Yeah, I'm not going to do any sort of electrical work by myself, I promise. Yep, Paranormal Witness Girl says the roof is a problem during hurricane season. Yeah, that's one thing I got to worry about. But then again, I was asking all my neighbors, and they said, so it's a single story, which is good. And the two houses next to me are both 2 stories. So it sort of blocks some of the wind. So my roof has never been ripped off in all the years it's been there. Just very slight damage. But look, that's, one of the risks that you take moving to a state that has crazy amount of natural disasters, unfortunately. But then again, I mean, as New Yorkers, especially if you're from Long Island, you understand, we went through Hurricane Sandy, which destroyed all of Long Beach. It was horrible. It took years to rebuild. So Sandy was horrible. Hey, photos from around New York. What's up? This is daylight saving time is 3:13. I can't wait. So photos, thank God you're here. So I was talking about that bakery in Greenpoint. What is that bakery called? The donut shop. It's like a very, very famous place. I used to live not right next to it. I used to live a couple blocks away when I lived in Greenpoint, but I forget the name. Peter Pan, that's it. Thank you, photos. What would I do without you? Not too much of anything. Yeah, Latha, you're right. Peter Pan Donuts, that is what it is. Wow, you lost power for 11 days during Sandy. Jeez. Shot by Scott says, Tom, a good lifespan for a roof in Miami is about 20 to 30 years. Yep. Yeah, I'm probably gonna, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx anything, but a lot of the major hurricanes have been thankfully missing Florida. Knock on wood. Hopefully that will continue. Wow, NMB045 says, Tom, Sandy hit us bad in Montreal too. I remember, but probably nothing like Long Island. Yeah, oh my gosh. What I remember on Long Island, there was literally boats in people's front yards. It was crazy. Especially in the towns like South Shore, Long Island. If you think about Island Park, Oceanside, Long Beach. It was crazy. It was just so wild. Like the Long Beach boardwalk half of it was gone. Half the boardwalk was totally obliterated. It was almost like not even to be believed to see it. Hey, Valentina says, hey, Tom, hope you're having a good weekend. Good to see you, Valentina. Hope you're having a good weekend as well. Hey, Samantha R, good to see you. Beijing Charlie is like, you got to knock on wood, not just say it. We'll find some wood here in a minute. Wow, Jonathan France. Or Jonathan Richards says, Tom, I'm an insurance agent. Outdated wiring is the #1 cause of house fires. That and stupid candles left unattended. Yeah, dude, I gotta figure it out. But also, so here's another thing. Here's the downside. My insurance premiums, obviously, on my homeowner's insurance is crazy. Crazy. I mean, for obvious reasons. Because I live in, the houses in southern Florida and a big risk for hurricane. But the homeowner's insurance is just freaking nuts. Like, so that is a downside. If you're going to buy a piece of property in a state where you get a lot of hurricanes or natural disasters, whew, man, that is not fun paying that bill. It's the same thing in California. And I think about 2 months ago, we did a stream about how a lot of the insurance companies are going to revoke the policies on a lot of people's homes in California because California will not let the insurance companies adjust for the risk of the wildfires. So a lot of these insurance companies are like, look, if you won't let us raise the premiums, we're just going to pull the policy, which, is crazy. California has a lot of wildfires. Florida has a lot of hurricanes. So we pay a lot of money in that insurance. Oh yeah, paranormal witness girls, like the homeowner's insurance is like paying another mortgage. It's almost more in some cases. But you got to do it. So this is Koreatown, 32nd Street. One of my favorite spots. Hey, Don Julio says, Tom, unattended clothes in the dryer are the #1 cause of house fires, according to insurance industry. Yeah, another thing that's really horrible, every year in New York, we have a big problem with the space heaters. So if you have a space heater, please make sure you keep everything away from the space heater. Melee says, thank you, Tom. Good night. Buy good homeowners insurance. We will. Hey, Rick Cutler, thank you so much for the $10 donation. This is regards from Mr. In Nigeria. Thank you so much. Appreciate the donation and the support. So I'm very tempted to try to walk past 34th Street, but I think the stream is going to go out. Hey, Sarah says, I'm literally in Manhattan right now. I hope you're enjoying it. It's a beautiful night in the city. So let's try to do one walk around Koreatown, but I really want to try to get past 34th Street. But I think the internet issue is going to persist. But we will try it out. But everybody, if the internet does go out, I appreciate everybody joining the stream. I think it's been a fun stream tonight. I had a good time talking with everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow. If you want to follow us on Twitter, if you have a Twitter, you can follow @Walks Wall Street. And we'll see if the internet goes out. Hey, Sierra, friend to see. What's up, Sierra? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good night. Yeah, Roy's like, Tom needs the battery. There's so many people here in Koreatown tonight on Saturday night. Ruby's is always packed in K-Town. It's one of my favorite spots in the city. Hey, Tom AK is here. What's up, Tom? Hope you're well, Tom. This reminds me of when we used to skateboard around here. Hey, the Centennial. This is greetings from Georgia. Great state. Crystal says, can we walk the Brooklyn Bridge tomorrow? That's actually probably a high possibility because we may be at the New York Stock Exchange anyway tomorrow. So maybe we'll do that. It's just the internet may go out on the bridge. But maybe we'll do it. Hey, Daryl is here from Chicago, Illinois. So Daryl, happy Saturday. Hey, James, Tom, greetings from Buenos Aires, Argentina. We have a lot of viewers from Argentina. It's good to see you. Yeah, photos from around New York's like, Tom, it's supposed to be really warm tomorrow. I think it's supposed to be 60 degrees. It's supposed to be a great day, finally. You know, the past 2 weeks in New York, the weather's been hit or miss. It's been hit or miss, but hey, hello from Japan. Welcome to all of our Japanese viewers. I'd like to stream in Japan maybe once things open back up. Although I need to get my passport. So maybe I'll do that this summer. Hey, Rodrigo says, hey, Tom from Brazil. What's up, Rodrigo from Brazil? Good to see you. Tiago says, I'm from Brazil as well. Welcome, everybody. Thane says, yes, Tom, stream in Tokyo. I'd also like to go to Korea. I think this is my favorite Tesla. Is this my favorite Tesla, or is this I think this is the Model Y. I think my favorite one is the Model X, perhaps. Hey, Lewis is here. Says, hey, Tom, thank God I've got some exposure to UCO because oil prices are going crazy. Yeah, Lewis, they are, man. Good to see you, Lewis. Hey, Jesse says, this is why I miss New York City. The vibes there are amazing, even though it's not summer yet. You are right. Yeah, NMB 045, it's always like this in Koreatown. One of my favorite places. Hey, Ed says, hello, Tom from England. Welcome, Ed. Good to see you. Yeah, Lady O's like you can get the passport application at the post office. So it's weird. I've been hearing a lot of people, they've been having a lot of issues with that. That's a massive rat that just ran right in front of my... Ooh, man, that... Did anybody see that rat that was like charging at me? It was almost like that rat wanted to fight. I don't want any part of that. The Swan, good to see you. Pacific Desert Raids, like that cat was huge. Yeah, lay this like do not underestimate the New York City rats. Penelope's like, Tom, you just passed Cosmo's scariest car. Yeah, British Gray, you're right. It says, Tom, the Feds are making their announcement on Monday about inflation. Yeah, next week is going to be really busy. We got a lot to cover on the stream. Everybody is expecting a 50 basis point interest rate increase, but Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell came out and said that's not going to happen. So maybe they'll raise it even more. You know, we'll have to see. But then again, I think even if you raise interest rates, I don't think that's going to do anything to help out inflation, because we've had artificially low interest rates since 2008, and inflation was actually relatively under control. The thing that's causing all the inflation, in my opinion, is all the money printing. You know, when you have a Federal Reserve printing so much money, all of that money is going to start to chase too few goods. Here's another Tesla. So here's the very top of the One Vanderbilt right here. M Size says, Tom, what is your view on Adobe tech company? Adobe is a very, very profitable company. Very good company to work for. But the only thing I'll say about Adobe, if you're looking at it from, like, if you want to work there, it's such a big organization that, so I would say if you're coming out of college and you want to work at a big tech company, I like to call it the legacy tech companies, like your SAP, your Oracle. You're going to learn a lot about systems and procedures, right? So you're going to learn what it takes to, work at a big established company, and then you could take those skills that you've learned at those big organizations to work at a smaller startup and help them from an operations standpoint. But Adobe's pretty big, and I think they're still compounding out their earnings. I think over 15% per year. But a lot of my friends, we always have those conversations about, right out of college, do you want to work at a startup, or do you want to work at a big software company like an SAP, Oracle? And I think if I had to do it all over again, I would work at, which I kind of did. I worked at a big, massive telecommunications company, which are well established. You learn systems and procedures, and then you could sort of take those skills that you've learned to a startup and help them build and hopefully trade your skills for some sort of equity offering. So hopefully that makes sense. Lewis says, what do you think about AMD? I think AMD just closed their deal with Xilinx, didn't they? I think that they got approval to close the deal with Xilinx, but NVIDIA's deal with SoftBank company ARM, I think that fell through. But to make a comment on the semiconductor industry, I think that's going to continue to outperform. I think the semiconductor industry as a whole has significant tailwinds. But if you look at this specific semiconductor company, I'm trying to think of the Nightbot command. I think I forgot it. We've been streaming for almost 3 hours, so I apologize. My brain is starting to turn to mush. Yeah. I mean, if you look back at the beginning of this video, I dropped the link to an Investor's Business Daily article that outlines a very up-and-coming semiconductor company that I think you should check out. So here we are, 34th Street. I think this is where we're going to go dead. I think this is a big dead zone here. So this is 34th Street, 6th Avenue, Herald Square. NMB 045, yes, I have heard of it. Yep. I think I used that too at my previous company. Yeah, so I don't know if, this is crazy. I don't think we're gonna be able to stream past 34th Street ever again. Dutchman, yes. Yeah, on their last earnings call, we covered that. So AMD did receive approval to buy Xilinx. Hey, Justin Case is watching this for the first time and I subscribed. Cheers from Canada. Well, thank you, Justin, for watching. We have a lot of Canadian viewers, a ton of Canadians from Montreal, Toronto. So welcome to the Canadian bunch. Yeah, shot by Scott, you're totally right. Yeah, so here's, nah, I won't show it. Yeah, like this, like, look. So these are all hypodermic heroin needles. And I mean, that's not cool. Because what if you have kids, like little kids? You don't want them walking past that stuff. But whatever. But everybody, we do have to, could we get a quick time check in the chat? Because I just want to make sure I'm going to make my train. Okay, 11:21. So I think I'm right on time. So everybody, I'm gonna end the stream, but I want to say thank you to everybody who's been watching. Marcio, they're not diabetic syringes. The vast majority of diabetics now receive their insulin via pump. Trust me, it's. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Also, everybody, if you have not received the Behind the Street newsletter, if you type !news, NEWS, in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link where you can sign up for the free financial newsletter I write for everybody, and I send it out every single Monday. So if you want to see my takes or read my takes on the global macro economy, feel free to read that. If you want to connect with us on Twitter, you could follow @WalksWallStreet. And I appreciate everybody. So Forgot Name, British Gray, buy the book. Ed, appreciate you. Jerry, Vane Chung, appreciate you, my friend. Paranormal Witness Girl, NMB 045, Atomic Skittles, Photos from Around New York. Lady O, Laytha, Andy, Paranormal Witness Girl, Jessica Rodriguez, Kenneth, Andy, War Walker, appreciate it. Mohammed, Bitsmag TV, Dutchman, Photos from Around New York, Cosmos Scary, all of our moderators, Michelle McGraw, New York City Walking Show, Penelope, all of my friends from around the world. We will see you right back here in the greatest city in the world tomorrow. And to the Mighty Bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there's always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. And I'll see everybody right back here tomorrow. Happy Sunday.